Good morning. I'm checking my list to make sure it's my turn. Oh my gosh. Well, we made it from Phoenix okay, and yay, right? Clay did message me early, and I was getting dressed, so I didn't see it, and we're on the way, and I said to Bill, oh, Clay said it's going to snow. We should be careful and leave early. Too late. But we did make it, and I'm so glad that you made it. And to those of you that stayed home and wanted to stay warm and safe, I appreciate that. And we're so glad that you're with us as well. And all of these seats, as Jackson said, are filled. And we speak to not only you, but the angels and devas and all the presences in different dimensions that we can't see that inspire us to live our best life. And that song just made me cry because today we're talking about a new dawn, and we're talking about the antidote of a new dawn and the new idea, all is well. That's not really a new idea, but it might be to you. But to the mind, everything that we do here, the mind can counter it with a false idea. And that song is so beautiful. And I was thinking to myself, how wonderful would it be if we could actually look at someone and say that, especially if that person is the one that disrupts you, right? That rubs you. And then we see how quickly the mind steps in and goes, yeah, I really am glad you're in the world, but. So what we do here is help us to live that, actually become that song in our everyday awareness and presence. And it is difficult because I too have a personality, and I too have people in my life that rub me, and I often have conversations with them when they're not around. And today, looking at the snow and looking out the window, I noticed, God, there I go again, having this conversation with a person that's not around. And it's normally something like me standing on my platform of right or wrong, good or bad. Or even worse, I am spiritual, so I must like you. And it's difficult. The world that we traverse and the teachings that we have here in our philosophy, in theory seem easy, but they can be quite difficult depending on how attached to your mind you are. So what I thought I would do is just go over a couple of things. So this is really a 6-point talk. We probably won't get to all 6 points, so that's okay. We'll carry it over because it's January and we're talking about, those basic philosophies. But I am an example kind of person. So before we do that, I'm going to give you this joke and do my best with this accent. So Elmer Fudd breaks into a distillery, and Daffy turns to Elmo and says, "Is this whiskey?" Elmer says, "Yes, but as whiskey." But, sorry, see? I knew I'd mess it up. Yes, but not as whiskey as robbing a bank. I thought that was so cute. I was like, can I do it? Can I get it there? I delivered, right? I delivered. Okay. And I have my gold pants on. I have my New Year's. And my husband was like, you're going to wear gold pants? I go, yes, because it's New Year. Holidays are over. They're going to go into the back of the closet. And I've lost a little weight, so they fit good. Yay. So speaking of new dawns. All right. So what I want you to know about this is in the journey of our discussion today, we're going to explore the transformative powers of the science of mind teaching, illuminating the pathways to overcome negative experiences, embrace the potential of a new dawn, and we'll reflect on the antidote of It's a New Dawn as we delve into these principles, offering a guide to awaken our minds, shape positive thoughts, and cultivate a purposeful life. So as I really thought about this, I really wanted to dig into those first 3 chapters of the Science of Mind. If you don't read anything else in that big book, the first 3 chapters are full of so much wisdom. I really do think it's the meat of what Ernest Holmes was trying to help us explain. And so the first point is perfection unveiled. So I wanted to break it out in a scenario, a real life situation, the science of mind principle that works with that, and then the antidote for it, right? It's the antidote, an example, and a mantra. So each point is a little lengthy. So like I said, we might not get to all of them, but it's a great topic to carry through January. So no worries. And it'll keep you staying in tune with us for the whole month if you want all of them. I think it's such a great talk. Actually, when we're done with this series, I'll publish it so that you can kind of see. And what I want to evoke from this talk is for you to look at your own personal experiences and see how this might resonate with you, and how you can break a new dawn or bring a new dawn into your life and live a life filled with gratitude from the heart. When we live from the mind, a lot of things happen. The mind is paradoxical for one thing, but it is opposites: good, bad, right, wrong, you, me, them, us. And any time that we dig into our consciousness and try to look at those beliefs that limit us, the mind likes things the way they are, even if there's a deep desire to change. The mind likes things the same. The little mind, the personality mind. So the first step, perfection unveiled. So the scenario really is: imagine waking up each morning with a sense of dread and a pessimism, expecting the day to unfold with a series of challenges and setbacks. This negative mindset may lead to a self-fulfilling prophecy where difficulties seem to manifest more frequently, reinforcing the belief that life is inherently challenging. I don't know about you, but sometimes I wake up and go, oh, I just want to pull the covers over my head. I don't really want to face the day. I can really find a challenge just about in anything that I try to do. And, when a person is facing this, it could be job dissatisfaction, financial stress, waking up to unexpected work problems. It could be negative adaptations contributing to stress and perpetual cycle of discontent. So that really is, when life just isn't going our way, and it can create depression, anxiety, and all kinds of things in the body. And what Science of Mind says about this is we need to invoke the law of perfection, the recognition that the universe is inherently perfect, and our minds have the power to align with this perfection. And when we align to the perfection, we start to recognize it or know it. I was in a meeting with one of the teachers that I like to hang out with, and she was talking about how the journey of spirituality is from the head to the heart. And, if you're starting out, you'll be like, well, how do I know when the heart opens? How do I know when I'm in my head and with my mind? And I thought when she said that I thought back to when I was pregnant, and first time, and I said to the doctor, well, how will I know why I'm in labor? And he's like, oh, you'll know. You'll know. And that's exactly what she said. You'll know because there will be a peace in your body that passes all understanding. And I thought, wow, that's such a beautiful vision or feeling. And when I was driving up here today, I texted her and I said, I just feel this overwhelming sense of gratitude for everything. The discord, the happiness, the disjointedness, anything that in my life, when I was driving up today, I thought, oh, and then what I recognized is this conversation that I was having in my mind with a person who wasn't in the car with me was, oh, I see now this, that, them, me, and I thought to myself, the self that wasn't having the conversation. Isn't that interesting? So we have this conversation, and if we stop to take a moment of pause and awareness, the question will arise, who's watching this conversation? Who is aware of this conversation? Is there really 3 people in my head, or is there just one? But what it is your truth, your higher self, is always witnessing all the conversations or dialogue that go on in your mind. And when we believe that we're the body, the mind, or the dialoguer and the dialoguee, then what happens is we need to create a sense of separation between the mind, body, the higher self, and it starts to become what people call the witness, or awareness, watching awareness. So the law of perfection is the recognition that the universe is inherently perfect, and our minds have the power again to align with this perfection. Well, we have to start somewhere. So when we notice the negative thought, we can counter with a positive one. So my new mantra for myself, when anything is going wrong, if I'm in the middle of discussion, I immediately can feel it. I know it's happening. I used to try to stop it by being agreeable with the person or really being a people pleaser. And what I recognized about people pleasing is I thought I was trying to be agreeable with other people, but what I recognized was I was just avoiding my own pain. That if I made you feel good, then I immediately felt good and I didn't have to deal with the anxiety in my body. And it was so liberating and freeing to see that. And that's where the work begins, because these situations still come. Life doesn't stop. People don't stop being who they are. But what happens is you start to become the heart instead of the mind, and you allow these things to happen, and then you try to enter into the conversation with this antidote, embracing the idea that every moment brings a new opportunity for growth and transformation. So the mantra that I say in my mind when I am aware enough and not caught up in the problem is, I am who I am, and that is enough. I am who I am, and that is enough. And it started as a way to avoid my pain and turned into a way to be able to settle down enough to be a listener to the person who is talking to me. Listening doesn't mean I have to agree with you. Listening doesn't mean that I actually will change my mind. But listening does allow the other person to have their say in the performance or the play that is at hand. So the example is, we start to recognize the perfection of the unfolding day, right? We understand that challenges and opportunity are learning for growth. We start each morning with gratitude. So this is an example of how do we go from here to there? Well, Science of Mind gives you very detailed steps. And I said it can be very challenging when you start to look at your own personal bias. It's so much easier to blame somebody else. But it is just, these beliefs can be so unconscious and hidden that they come out in our languaging. Like, I knew that was going to go wrong. Like, oh my God, I said to my son, I had to enter into this conversation, so I called him ahead of time to pre-plan this conversation. And he goes, Mom, why are you thinking it's going to go wrong at all? And I was like, because it always does. And he goes, does it? And I'm like, I hate when you're right. I really do. He's so much younger than me and so wise, but he's like, why not just wait till the situation unfolds and see what happens? Maybe you are correct about the dialogue. Maybe you're not. Maybe if you bring a new you to the conversation, it'll change the outcome of the dialogue. Maybe you'll see something about this person that you haven't seen before. Maybe you'll still have the same opinion, but what will definitely happen is you'll have a sense of peace. And I was like, man, for a 30-something-year-old, it took me till 50s to get there. So I was like, okay. And this is kind of what evoked this conversation. And so I came up with the mantra for this specific example, right? Waking up in the morning, dreading to go have a conversation, or not really knowing what's going to unfold, and the anxiety that comes with uncertainty and challenges and not really knowing what the next moment is going to bring. The antidote for this is embrace the idea that every morning brings that new opportunity for growth and transformation. And the mantra is, I embrace the perfection of each moment with gratitude. I welcome the opportunities for growth, and that each new opportunity is a new dawn in my life. And I thought that was so fascinating that that's what came out of this. I embrace the perfection of each moment, because the only thing that doesn't think that each moment is perfect is your mind. The only thing that doesn't see past the opportunity or what we call a problem is the mind. And the mind is filled with the things that you've learned growing up. some of them stuffed way deep down there. And when you're triggered, all of a sudden there's this explosion. I feel it in my body first as anxiety. And then I get a little defensive. And then I try to control the conversation. And then listening is gone. And there's no opportunity for looking at anything or growing. And so I don't know about you. Think about your life and how you handle your own personal problems. But the science of mind teaching, when you bring this new idea in, it brings the old ideas to light. It allows us to look at them and for transformation of your mind and your subconscious to take place. And when the subconscious changes, the world, it seems like magic. Like I remember when I first started Science of Mind and I got my first practitioner and she was helping me and things started, I thought it was a miracle. I thought she had magical powers, and that's why I wanted to be a practitioner, so that I would have magical powers to help other people. But it was so great. So Science of Mind is just so wonderful tool to bring to the forefront and put it in front of us how we are creating our own world. And if we don't like the world we've created, we can create a new one. Right? We have that power. You are the creative process embodied in a human being, and it does what you ask it to do, knowingly or unknowingly. It is always at your command. And if you are unaware of how you're commanding it, then you're going to get a life and you're going to say, well, how did that happen? But if you come to a Science of Minder, they're going to say, let me tell you how that happened. And you might not like it. So sometimes we chase people away. That's okay. Right? They're just going to keep going. That's what my teacher said to me, my first teacher, Reby. He said, why are you here? And I said, I don't know, I just want to be a better person. And he's like, okay, well, why are you here? He asked me that question like 5 times. And it took me a year to go back to him because all the way home, I was having a conversation with him in my car answering that question over and over and over again. But he's the one that encouraged me to stay with Science of Mind, to become a practitioner, because he knew that all of us need a way to look at ourselves in a safe and holistic manner. And that's what we give you here in our philosophy, is a safe and holistic manner to look at your beliefs so that you can change your life. And I am a testament to that. I'll give you the experience. I can wake up cranky like the rest of us. But in 2008, when the crisis happened, and I lived in Colorado, my husband lived in Arizona, I thought my source was at a very high-paying job in another state. And we lost our house, and all kinds of things collapsed. And that's when Science of Mind fell into my lap. And that's when I met my first practitioner. And it took a while, right? My mind like, oh, if I go, it's going to happen right away. And it didn't. I actually found Science of Mind, and I went because I wanted to try and keep the job that I wasn't doing very well at. And it didn't work out, right? I ended up leaving that job. But what did work out is that things must fall apart sometimes first to fall together. It doesn't mean they're wrong or broken. It doesn't mean that we should feel guilt about the way our lives are. No, it's perfectly innocent. We don't do shame or guilt here. We do awareness and enlightenment and awakening and living your best life. So that's point number 2. Point number 2 is awakening to the possibilities. So a negative scenario that could be potentially aligned with this is someone consistently wakes up with a defeatist attitude, convinced that opportunities are scarce, personal growth is unattainable, and the mindset limits their ability to see potential avenues for improvement, hindering their overall well-being. A person stuck in this mundane routine can feel trapped. They can wake up expecting each day to be a repetition of the previous one. This negative mindset closes us off to the possibilities of positive change. And what we need to invoke for this is the law of possibility. The mind is inherently creative and possibilities are limited. That's not true. See, there we go. The possibilities are limitless. They're limitless because you are the creative process in action. Like, the first thing that we have to realize is that we created it. My mentor, Reverend Cheryl, was like, she would tell me, Tracey, if you created this, okay, so what? The beautiful news is you get to create something bigger and better. And my defeated attitude towards it was I either didn't know how to do it, or it took too long, or I didn't understand it, or I wanted someone to explain it 800 times. And so I remember being stuck in that because I'm a very process-oriented person. Tell me what to do, I'll go do it. I'll wait for the results. If I don't like them, I'll go back to A, B, C. And it is a positive attribute about my personality, but also can be a perceived negative one, because I can get caught in this process-oriented thinking. And the heart doesn't need your thinking. The heart is now, and it is ever unfolding. It is allowing what is transpiring to transpire without your input or dialogue to help it along. It allows the fulfillment of your unconscious mind to play out in the manifested world in the form of mental equivalence. It doesn't say it's right or wrong. It doesn't say it's good or bad. It just says, well, it's caught up with you. And what would happen with me was I was like, oh, I want to create something bigger and better and nicer and more wonderful for myself. And if I didn't get quite right, it's like this paradoxical thing. You know, you take 2 steps forward, you take 2 steps back, you try to allow it to unfold, and then you can start to see your habitual habits of, well, need I say for me, control. I'm a little bit of a control freak. But, you know, what happens is these things lessen. The more you come, the more you talk to a practitioner, the more you read, the less your habits have a hold on you. You start to see them. The world brings to you everything that you need to release an old belief or an idea and replace it with the love or the idea of the love that you actually are. First it comes as an idea, and then it comes as an embodiment, and then it comes as your life. And this is where gratitude naturally wells up, and it kind of strikes you. I was always fascinated when I heard teachers say, when the awakening came, well, first of all, we're already awake. It's just covered with all of our concepts. But when that new feeling, that new dawn broke, everything looked brighter. Everything looked greener. The snow looked whatever. You know, it was just this, you hear them tell these stories, but that's because they are no longer looking through the lens of a belief that wasn't serving them. They dropped away, and they know that life is reciprocal. It's always happening. We live in a planet that is hurling through space, and asteroids are out there. So many things out there that we don't even know about. And things, you know, this is a world of play. So there's always the opposite. There's always things going on. And what it does when this new dawn occurs is it allows you to be a witness to it. It allows you to let it unfold. It allows you to stop taking things personally. And it allows room for everyone to come and go, because there really is only one, and you are creating your life. And you are the one who is responsible for it. And it lets everybody else off the hook. It really is liberating. When it occurs, it's daunting to the mind. So as we reflect on this thing, this achievement that we want to change in our life, we can set a specific goal for the day that aligns with our aspirations, creating a positive intention. So we get up, we create a positive intention. I am who I am, and that is enough. And that works out. And then the mantra, with each dawn, I welcome boundless possibilities. Today, I set my intention for growth and positive transformation. So with these, I told you these are really long, right? They're really in-depth conversations that can unfold in a class. But what I really wanted to bring to this talk today is, you know, we talk a lot about our principles. For me, it was really challenging to go, okay, well, what's going in my life that this principle fits to? What's an example so I can align it to something that I was going through? And then it helped me to have an antidote and a mantra and to really see it unfolding. Now, I don't know how you think or how you move through your life or how the Science of Mind teaching well, I know how it'll work for you if you do it. It will unfold new and beautiful things, but also we do have to be prepared for that mind to sweep in and take us back to that negative space, and we have to be willing to step forward and do it again and again and again until a new dawn breaks, an unconscious belief leaves, and that you start to harness the creative power of the universe and you use it for your good, and then it's for the good of everyone else. And so we'll leave it at point 2, and we'll pick up the other points later. But what I wanted to close with and to keep in alignment with is I just really want you to know that overcoming negative scenarios, I don't even like to use the word negative, but it's what we call them, so we'll use it. But they're just scenarios that unfold that make us feel uncomfortable, that we wish would change. It's calling us into it's showing us that we are out of alignment with our true and highest self. Otherwise, you wouldn't feel that calling. You wouldn't be searching for something to unfold. So as we unleash this transformative power, the science of mind principles, we want to embrace the perfection of the unfolding moment, recognizing the boundless possibilities that are directing our life. I encourage you this January to take a class, to see a practitioner, to read a new book, to look at your beliefs. And the best way to do that is to journal the problem that you're having and continually ask why until you get to the root. And when the root is pulled up, the problem is solved. A new consciousness emerges. A peaceful setting settles on the body. And a new way of being will be your gift from the universe. And I will leave you there with those 2. And I bless you, and I am so grateful to be here. And thank you on this beautiful Sunday. Much appreciated.